Happy Wednesday. All right, so today we are going to look at another way to do multiplication with fractions. So we're going to look at a number line. Oh, Blaine, you should love this one. So I'm looking here, and I already did an example for you of using a number line. I kind of wish I had waited, but so what I did was, my question was 3 times 3/4. So what I did was I started at 0. I have my number line 0 to 3. And remember, when you're splitting it, okay, it's fourths. So then I draw 3 lines, so I have 4 sections there, right? Remember, you always go, whatever it's split into, you draw 1 line less. So I started at 0, and I know I'm going to do 3/4 3 times. So hop 1, 2, 3. That was my first time. 1, 2, 3. That was my second time. And then 1, 2, 3. That was my third time. Now, I've got 2 wholes, and then I've got 9/4. All right. So 9/4 here. That was 3 times, right? And I wrote up there is equal to 2 1/4 because look where I am on the number line. On the number line, I went 1, 2, and then I had to finish that hop 1, 2, 3. So I ended up at 2 1/4. Now up here just shows the multiplication. 3 times 3/4 equals 9/4. And then what I did was I converted it. Okay, and I know I can get 4 times 2 is 8, so I can get 2 wholes out of there. 9 minus 8 is 1 1/4. Okay, so this is kind of a review of what we did Monday. Just a number line. If you don't like what we did, the repeated addition or the multiplication or the drawing of the picture, okay, a number line is another way you can do that. Remember how we used to do in Ready Math that first day? I'd give you a question, you guys would show me how you could do it. This is kind of like that. Just a lot of different strategies to figure out an answer to a question. All right, so here's another idea, using a model. So if I want to use a model, kind of like a picture, like this circle, but like a squares. So I have, again, the same number, 3 times 3/4. So my first step is that I'm going to draw the 3 boxes. So I've already done that for you. And then I'm going to cut the boxes by the denominator. So I need to cut it into 4s, each one. So I'm going to, remember, if you're cutting into 4s, you do 1 line less. And we have 3 of those. Now, what do we have, right? We have 3 of the 4 shaded. So I'm going to go ahead and shade in 3/4 of each one. That was our next one, shade by the numerator. I had to shade 3 of the 4. That was my next step. So I drew my boxes. I cut the boxes by the denominator into 4s. And then I shaded the numerator for each box, 3 out of 4. Now I'm going to count and give my answers. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. My answer is 9, and what are they cut into? 4s. 9/4, which is the same answer we have up here, right? And then 4 goes into 9. How many 4s can I get out of 9, like wholes? Well, I can get 2, but then 4 times 2 is 8, so I have to subtract 8 from 9, I have 1/4 left. So there's another way to do it, okay? So this is just adding some more strategies to the ones that we did on Monday. All right, down here, Leilani, hello Leilani. She bakes cupcakes for 9 of her friends. 2/3 of her friends want vanilla icing. How many cupcakes will have vanilla icing? All right, so here's just another word problem, and then we're going to do the number line, and we're going to do the model. All right, so I've got a number in here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I went to 6. So I've got 9 of her friends. 2/3 of her friends want vanilla icing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this into thirds because that's what we're measuring by, right? We're measuring by 2/3. So if I'm doing 3s, I make only 2 lines. So I'm going to do my 2 lines between each one. All right, so I'm going to start at 0 just like I did up here, okay? And remember, I've got to do it 9 times. So I've got to do 2/3 9 times. So 1, 2, that's 1 time. 1, 2, that's 2 times. 1, 2, that's 3 times. 1, 2, that's 4 times. 1, 2, 5 times. 1, 2, 6 times. 1, 2, 7 times. 1, 2, 8 times. 1, 2, 9 times. That's a lot of work, the number line, right? Sometimes that might be easy if you're just doing smaller numbers, but if we had larger numbers, that'd be a lot of jump counting, skip counting, right? All right, so 9 times 2/3 shows me that I'm going to end up with the number 6. So that tells me 6 of her friends, okay, 6 friends will want it to be iced. And that's it. So the nice thing about that is that here we ended up on a solid number, a whole number, but you might end up on a fraction like 6 1/3 or 6 2/3, depending on how many friends. So if I had 10 friends, I would jump 2 more, and that would be 6 2/3. Okay, so it just depends on the number. Here we came out with an even number. All right, so that is one way to solve that question. All right, you could also draw a picture like we did the other day. You could just do the multiplication. Okay, 9 times 2 is 18 divided by 3. 18/3, you would divide it, and you still get the 6, right? All right, here's another one. Here's a model. So again, we're looking at 2/3, and again, we're doing 9 times 2/3. All right, so what I need to do is I need to split these into thirds. Because that's going to represent what we're doing. Also, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times 2/3. So we want to fill out 2/3 of it. So 2/3 of each. We split these into thirds, right? Well, that's 1/3, right? This is our second third. That's our third third, but we only need 2/3, right? That's all we need. So we're not gonna, those friends want chocolate icing. Maybe they don't want any icing, which would be kind of bland, right? All right, so how many do we have now? So what number are we left with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, just like we got over here. So the answer, again, this was your third, is 6 friends. Now just real quick, if I wanted to multiply it, like I said before, 9 times 2 is 18. 18/3, because that would be over 1, and 1 times 3. Remember, identity property, any number times 1 is itself. And then how many 3's can get out? Well, 3 goes into 18 equally 6 times with no fraction left. So 6 of her friends want vanilla icing. All right. So we have a 1-word problem here. Okay, it's a 2-step word problem. So, Natalie, hello Natalie, I'm trying to use all of your names throughout our math classes. Natalie makes clothes for pets. She needs 5/6 yards of fabric for 1 dog coat and 2/3 yards of trim material. So she's going to make a coat for a dog. And for each coat, she needs 5/6 yards of fabric for the coat. And then she needs 2/3 yards of trim material. So, you know, when you have a coat, sometimes you have a different trim on it. So these are 2 different measurements. So we're not going to put them together. And we're not going to multiply them times each other, okay? Because they're different things. They're different materials. And if you notice, we haven't done like fraction times fraction. We've done just doing whole numbers times a fraction. All right, so we want to know how much material and trim will she need to make coats for how many dogs? For 3 dogs. All right, so what strategy will you use? You can use any strategy you want on this. Okay, I am going to take the shortest route because I like to work efficiently, quickly, but accurately too. So the first thing I need to do is to set up what am I looking for. Okay, this is going to be the dog coats, right? The yards for the dog, the coats, the material for the coats. And then she also needs to make the trim. So each coat needs a trim. And she's making 3 coats. So I have two things I have to do here, 2 steps, right? Now, again, just like we said before, you can use a number line. Okay, you're gonna have to do two different number lines because they're different numbers. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the shortest route and I'm going to put my whole number over 1. I'm gonna do the same thing down here. I am doing the multiplication. So this is for the coat and this is for the trim on the coat. All right, so let's multiply across the numerators. So 3 times 5 is 15. 1 times 6 is 6. Yeah, and remember when I said you're going to need multiplication the rest of the year? Again, we're in fractions and you have to multiply. Identity property, 1 times 6, 1 times any number gives you the same number. All right, so this is an improper fraction. We can't leave it like that. You guys, you've got to change it. On the math quiz, a lot of you left it like that. And I specifically told you in the review, it's improper or a fraction greater than 1, you have to make it into a mixed number. So I'm gonna say, how many 6s can I get out of 15 without going over like Bob Barker and The Price is Right? 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. Can I do another 6? 6 times 3, that's 18. I can't go over, there isn't 18 there, it's only 15. So that means 2. So 6 times 2 is 12. So I have to subtract 12 from 15. And I'm left with 3. That's my numerator. Denominator is going to stay the same because I'm converting. So it looks like 5 6 times 3, she's going to need, for the material, 2 and 3/6 yards to make the dog coats. Okay, that's not a lot of material, but they're probably small dogs, right? All right, so we figured that out. Cool. But now we need to figure out the trim. So we're going to do it the same way. We're going to multiply across. 3 times 2 is 6. Again, identity property, any number times 1 is itself. 1 times 3, 3. Now, this looks nice and easy, right? Because if I know my multiplication facts, I know that 3 times 2 is 6. So I've got 2 holes. So she needs 2 yards for the trim. And there's her answer. Bam. So she can go to Joann Fabrics and say, okay, here's my material. I need you to cut me 2 and 3/6 yards of this s'mores material because I'm going to make jackets. And then I need 2 yards of this trim to go on the edges of the jackets for the dog coats. And that's really it. Now, just to show you again, if you wanted to do something here, if you wanted to draw a picture, let's do this, the smaller one. So I want to draw a picture. So I'm going to have 3 circles, right? 1, 2, 3. And they're divided into thirds, peace sign, right? And 2/3 of each. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, so I have 3 of those. So now I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I know that I have 6. Okay, out of the 3, which is the same that we have up here. And then that equals 2 whole yards. Okay, so we could do the same thing up here with the 6. But just to remind you that you can use any of those strategies that we've used Monday or today to solve the problem. But just because you see these 2 numbers, I want you to be careful because a lot of people will see these 2 numbers and just multiply them. You've got to read what the question is asking you and know what numbers you're using. All right, so we have 3 dog coats, so we needed to multiply 3 times for the coat material, 3 times the trim, and then we have our 2 answers. All right, so today you're doing Khan Academy again. You're going to watch the video, fraction multiplying numbers. And it's going to say something about number lines on there because we did do the number line. And then fractions and number lines will be the question set. So again, it's like a 3-minute video. Make sure you watch that. I see if you don't watch it, okay? It shows me if you don't watch it. And then it's like 4 or 5 questions, okay? Again, you can go to your channel if you have a question and I can call you up and we can do it on the whiteboard together. But remember, you can use any of the strategies we've been doing to solve these problems. It's really what works for you. All right, that's all I have today. It's Wednesday, we're halfway there. Have a great day, and I'll see you again. Bye.